Hello everyone, I hope you guys are doing well today. I got another quick tips and tricks video for you. So today we're going to be learning how I put in my zipper. This is not something that I love to do. It's always a little tricky putting in the zipper, and sometimes it doesn't always work right and you have to reset it. Hopefully that does not happen today, but I'm currently working on a costume with a zipper. And that costume, if you want to see the rest of it, will be out in my next video. So check out that video because I have a couple of other little tips within that video as well that you do not want to miss. But today we're going to be pulling from that video and showing you how I put in the zipper. So it'll just be straight up the back, and this will have a high neck. So I'll show you that I do hooks at the top of the high neck and then the zipper under it, and how I place that in. And a little tip or technique that I like to do to kind of really make it look invisible on the mesh. So like I said, not something that I love to do, but if you can get it right, it looks nice and sleek and really holds somebody, people in. Some people like to have the zipper because they don't want to have the keyhole back opening because they may be wearing a bra or something. They just want to feel pulled in. So doing a zipper really helps with pulling somebody in and keeping everything in place, because when we're skating, we don't want, the girls jiggle-jaggling around, jingle-jangling. I don't know. I make up these words sometimes. So my jibber-jabbles and my jingle-jangles. Anyway, I've been doing too much sewing lately, so I guess I find myself funny. But anyway, let's move on with the video. We'll go over to my sewing area and I'll explain exactly what I'm doing with it. And then we can go from there. And so hopefully you find this video helpful. All right, we are ready to put the zipper in. Now I've got the bodice all sewn up, and then we have the back opening, of course, where we will be putting the zipper. Now, a lot of times where I'm doing a zipper is just one layer of mesh. And that can be difficult sometimes because then there's not a lot of structure to that mesh because it is so thin that it will wave. So what I like to do is put a little structure on the edge of where the zipper is going to be, which is by using this lining fabric. Now this is actual lining fabric. The fabric that I normally use for lining inside the dress is just a two-way kind of nudish color lycra. Because it's thicker and it has more structure to it. This actually is pretty thin. This is kind of, I get it from Spandex House, and I think they actually call it lining. I think it comes in black, white, and this nude suntan color. But it is very thin. You can see through it. But the only thing I like to use it on is when I'm trying to nude out or opaque a nude. So like say if I have a deep V, I will put this in it a lot of times. But I like to use it on the edge. I like to fold it in half and use it on the edge of the zipper because it gives a little structure. And the reason why I like this stuff as well is that it is very matte, and so it looks the most like skin out of any fabric that I have found. And so what I will do is I will fold it in half, and I take about an inch and a half, and let's see, what do I normally do? I think I do an inch and a half on each side. And so what this will do is it gives structure to the zipper, but then it also nudes out the zipper, so then you're not seeing a black line completely down the back, so it kind of makes it invisible, because this is an invisible zipper. If you don't know what an invisible zipper is, it kind of folds into itself, so then when you sew it in, it looks just like a seam instead of like you're seeing a zipper, like in your pants or whatever. So just kind of keeps it nice and clean. So anyway, so what I will do is I have a cutting mat here, and I will put this in the description below. This is by a company called Fiskars. And it's a mat that's kind of like a self-healing mat, so you can cut on it. So I use, also by the company Fiskars, Fiskars, F-I-S-K-A-R-S. I don't know if I'm saying that right. It's a rotary cutter, and this is a manual one, not like my electrical one. but you can cut on the boards. So if I did this on my regular table, I would start getting some ruts into the table. But this is kind of a self-healing board, so you can cut straight onto this, and it doesn't mess it up. So I will have both of these down in the description below to my Amazon store where you can buy these because they are great. So what I will do is I will just fold this in half because I like to have the edge away from the zipper. So there's the center line down the back, and then it will come out about 1.5 inches. That edge here, it is not raw because it is folded in half. And so it just kind of keeps it nice and even. So, and this fabric also, when you go to cut it, it kind of pushes to itself, and you'd have to pull it apart if you wanted to, but I like that it kind of stays together, and then I can just sew it into the edge of the mesh very easily. So what I'll do is I'll mark out 1.5 inches with my ruler. Now I also have this ruler on my Amazon store. Like I said, that Amazon store has all of the goodies that I use, and so you can check it out, and when you buy, it gives me a little kickback, which is nice, so if you want to support the channel. So just got to see how much you need. So I need to have 2 pieces that are about the width or the length of this. So then you just get it on the edge, and then you just push this button, and the little blade comes out like this, and then you roll it along, and it gives you a perfect little seam. And it's cuts it perfectly. So you just have it folded in half. And I'll do one down here as well. Move this out of the way. All right, so I've got that cut. I just need to make sure it kind of fell apart a little bit, but I can just fold it right back into itself. And then what I'm going to do is that I just put the edge of the mesh onto this piece, and I can pin it in, and then I can zigzag it down. So I want the edge where the zipper is going to go, you need to put it on the cut edge of that piece. Let's see if I can move this up. I don't got enough space. I don't have enough space in here. Said nobody ever if they probably came in here. Okay, so I'm just going to put it on the edge, and then I will pin it down. So this just makes it look nice and clean. You know me, I love to have everything nice and clean looking. But this just gives a nice little base so that it's not just one skimpy layer of this mesh. Now you can do it, and I have done it before, and it works, but I just feel like it sits so much better with a little bit of thickness in the fabric. All right, so I'm going to pin the other side of this, then I'm going to zigzag it down. Now I do this is going to have a high neck, if you remember. I do this before I put in the high neck. So the steps will be cut out this nude, pin it on, zigzag it down, then I can sew on the neck, and then we can put in the zipper. All right, so I'm going to pin the other side, and then we'll reconvene over in my sewing station. All right, now I have got the neck sewn on and the nude pieces, as you can see. See that how that's folded on the edge, so then it just makes a nice little, you know, it just kind of blends in with the skin. And see, I just feel like this fabric is the most skin-like out of any fabric. So it is just the liner from Spandex House, but I don't like to use this as my actual liner in the dress. I just like to use it to opaque out any place that needs to be opaque and nude. So I put the neck on. Now we can put the zipper on. Now I just need to fold it in half, and then at the back, bottom back, I'm going to stitch it up to where this line is, basically where the bodice meets the colored mesh there. I'll stitch right up to that point. So I'm just going to put it in. Now I'm going to use what is called a reinforcement stitch, which is basically a straight stitch, and it just kind of goes back and forth as it moves down like this, and so it kind of goes back on itself to reinforce it. It just goes down into a straight line. So I'm going to show you that stitch now. So we just need to make sure that we're lined up there, and we're sewing about a 1/2 inch off of the seam here. So if you can see that, let's see, you can see that. Let's go a little closer for you. Then it's just going back and forth. Right up that line, I'll go back on my machine. And then we've just cut our threads with our snips. Always love a snip. Let's take you back out. Always love a snip because it just pops back out. It's much easier. I used scissors for years and years and years when cutting this off, but I learned maybe 10 years ago I got snips, and it just easily just snips off all your threads. Just snip, snip, ding, 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 ding. All right, so now we have that sewn right to that edge there. It's a little off, but I'll cover it with beading. Even Brad makes mistakes. So yes, I will cover that with beading. I tried to line it up. Best way to line up, quite honestly, is to really line it up, do a little tack stitch where you're trying to line it up, and then go in and sew it, because sometimes fabric will move a little bit when you go to sew it. Anyway, all right, now we're going to put in our zipper, which I need to go get. So I'm going to do a little cut here. As you can see here, I did not get, it's a little off, but I'm going to cover that with beading. If I was doing it unbeaded, or was not going to be beaded over, because this will be heavily beaded in this section, I probably would rip it out and do it over again, but I'm not going to worry about it. So if you're covering with beading, this is your permission that Brad says you can cover it up with beading. Okay, I've got my invisible zipper here. As you can see, it looks invisible, and so it will just look like a seam, hopefully, when you sew it up. So the actual teeth are on the back. Normally, a regular zipper, like you see in your regular everyday clothes, this piece will be on the front. All right, so basically what I do is I'm going to put, there's a little notch, little ender there, little end piece. I'm going to pin it to where I want it to start, which is basically, because I'm going to put hooks on the neck here. I'm going to put it right there where the colored mesh is starting. And then I'm just going to go down the whole thing and just pin it as flat as possible. And I like to start on the, I guess it's going to be the, if you're looking at it, it's going to be on the left side. So we just go all the way down. Okay, now we'll just check our work. See if it is flat. So it looks pretty flat. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to zigzag it down on the edge here, so that I can make sure that it is good before we actually do the stitch that will go into this, into it. See how that kind of rolls over on itself? So we're going to be stitching into that roll. So I like to do a zigzag first, just to get it in, make sure that it all looks nice and flat and even. But as you can see, this little liner there just gives it a little more substance, a little more thickness, so that it so it won't wave. Okay, so I'm going to sew the zigzag into this. All right, I have zigzagged it in, and now I can go in and do the seam. However, I'm going to match it up on this other side. So how I do that is, and I'll do the zigzag on this, I just kind of pull the zip up to where that opening is to make sure that it is lining up with the opening on both sides, and I will put a pin in there. And I can kind of unzip it a little bit. Hopefully. Okay. And then I can go up this side here. I'll do just like on this side, I will put the little stop right at the edge and pin. And then I'm going to pin all the way down like I did on that other side, and I'm going to zigzag it up. And then we can do the straight stitch to put it in. So I'm going to do that now, and then we will move on from there. All right, I have sewn up the other side, zigzagged it in, and now we need to do our straight stitch to put it in. And what we will do that, we need to take this foot off and put on this foot, which is an invisible zipper foot. So as you can see, these are the little little crevices that the edge here will sit in, and then it can sew right up on it, right in that edge there where it flips. So I just need to switch it on my machine, and with this Bernina machine, it's so easy. You just flip up in the back, pull off, flip down, and it is changed. And then you do have to thread it. I need to take it off. You do need to thread it. There's a little hole there, so I need to thread it through that hole. And then I can put it on. Okay, so then what we're going to do is we're going to have it on a straight stitch. And then we just need to put that little edge into the crevice there. So now we're in the little crevice there. Now I can start sewing. So you just need to make sure once you get past the little stop that is up in the crevice so that it can sew within it. So then we can just go quickly. And then this is kind of the tricky part. When we get to the end here, we want it to sit right on the edge of where it's joined. So I'm going to go right up to the edge, and then I'm going to go back to just reinforce it. I can take it out and do a snip. Perfect. Now we can put in the other side and go down. So there's two little crevices, so one's for the left, one's for the right. So I will just put this side's little edge into the crevice. We can go. You just have to kind of get it started there after you get past the seam. Seams are really hard with this. And you just go down. Now you stop just like on that other side. You're going to stop right next to that opening. And then you're just going to go back, reinforce it, and then you can snip it off. Now, it will be like that. You just need to pull the pull like that, pull it through, and pull it up. And then let's look and see how my work did this time. So it's very nice. So see, even though I was off originally with this, and like I said, I'm just going to do the beading, but as you can see there, it just does a perfect from the actual seam into this, and just looks like a seam coming all the way up. So perfect. Now I'm going to show you how I finish it off. So let me get organized, and I'll do that. All right, now I have it flipped inside out. Now we need to finish. We have all this extra piece here, right? So we need to finish it off nicely. So what I'm going to do, is I'm going to fold out the seam like this and zigzag it down. I'll just go back and forth on itself. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to trim, just cut the zipper. So I want to trim it before this because this is where the seam's going to be. So basically, this is where it's ending. I'm basically just going to cut it kind of halfway, like that. So all gone. But if you did that, this could then rip. So then what I do is I take a little scrap piece of fabric in the color, and I wrap it like this. And I will do a zigzag on the edge. So I'm pulling it so that it's right along the edge. Just go back and forth on it. Really get it in there. And then I'll take it and I will trim away all the excess. So I'll do it on the edges there. That. And then I will trim it up. Trim it up right here on both sides. So now it has been stopped. It will not come undone. So nice and neat. But then I also like to then have it stay nice and neat against this. So I will just zigzag it down right here on both sides so that it is within the fold of the edge. So this is kind of hard to do with camera, y'all, but just zigzag in. All right. Look how nice that looks. So it's just in there perfectly. I'm going to move you over so we can get a really good look at it. All right. So there I have it nicely sewn. And you can trim off the edge. I don't mind all this stuff where it looks like this. Doesn't look too bad, but you can trim it if you want to trim it up. See, that's in there nice. Now I'll flip it to right side out so we can look at it. So see, it just goes nicely down into there, and then we've got our zipper. So it's pulled, it's all invisible, and then we've got our nude there so that when it's on the wearer's skin, it will blend in. So I hope this was helpful of how I do it. Now, this is just me faking it till I make it, and this is how I've just always done it. I don't know if there's another way to do this that's better, but this has always worked for me. It gives me a nice flat zipper down the back. Now, sometimes they will roll if the person who's wearing it has a really sway back, which means they have a bend in their back, and so it will bunch up. So I find when I do that, if I can just shorten the torso a little more, then it will pull it out a little bit. But sometimes it is impossible for you to get rid of that, where it will bubble if somebody has a really sway back, because it's just the way that they're built, and it will wrinkle. All right, so now I can get on with the rest of this dress. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and if you want to check out the rest of how this dress was made, you can check out the video that's coming out in a couple more days. So please like, subscribe, and comment on this. We're going to do a little outro here as well so that we can discuss, but you can check out the finish, the start to finish of this costume if you would like in my next video. All right, I hope you guys enjoyed that video of how I put in my zipper. You know, it's pretty easy, but you just have to take your time setting it in. Like, it's not something you want to rush, but it is not something that I ever enjoy doing. When I know I have a zipper coming up in a costume, I'm kind of like, ugh. But just have to take your time, breathe a little bit, and really set it in there in there nicely. So hopefully you enjoyed this video and you found it helpful. Now, if you find these videos helpful, something that will help me, because I'm really trying to grow this community here on YouTube and try to get as many people following me, and I can help as many people as possible. But if you think this video would be helpful to somebody that you know, or to a group maybe on Facebook that you know, please share it. That is very, very helpful to me when you do those things. So if you, I know a lot of you are in groups on Facebook that are, you know, how to sew dance costumes or skating costumes or, you know, stretchy fabric or whatever. If you find this helpful and you think your group would enjoy seeing these videos, please just share them within the group. You don't want to spam it, but just, you know, every once in a while, just say, hey, Brad, I put up a new video and I think this would be very helpful. I really enjoyed seeing his process into doing this one thing, or check out, you know, this full costume that he made, and there were some really fun tips within that. So if you can do those things, please share. Sharing is caring. And with that being said, we'll do a little housekeeping. So if you could please like, subscribe, and comment on this video, as you know as well, that really, really helps me in trying to grow this community bigger and bigger and bigger. And when you do those things, it kind of helps the algorithm, as I like to say, and it will bring more people into me. So please like, subscribe, and comment. And you can leave comments below of, you know, like, oh, great job, whatever. But you can also leave a question, and I will do my best to answer it. So if you are seeing something that I'm doing and you have a little extra question, feel free to leave a comment and I will answer it. Now, if you want to see some more of my work and just kind of, as some people say, stalk me, you can go to my Instagram. That is where I do the most amount of posting, and I have probably 12, 13 years worth of content on there of all the costumes that I've made. And so I will do some carousels with lots of detail of the beading work that I've done on costumes. I will do little quick videos on there that you can see me putting something together, or just whatever is, you know, in my head to post that day. I will also post anything that I want you to know. So like if I have a new video coming out and I want you to see it, it will be posted there, and so it will alert you. But even with my customers, I let them know when I'm having sales. And if I have a new dress that's ready to go that can ship right away, it is all on Instagram. So check me out there. It kicks to my Facebook as well. I'm not as much answering questions within there, but I will answer questions on Instagram because I am that's where my main source of social media is. And then, of course, you can follow me here on YouTube. And then you can check out my websites. I have two websites. I have bradgriffys.co, which is my main website, which houses my custom, how to order a custom costume, and then also my made-to-order dresses. And you can see all the pricing within there if you are interested in buying an actual dress from me. And then I have my stock website. Stock website is basically everything that I have that is ready to ship to you if you're interested. So I do have skating costumes on there, but I also have, if you are a sewer, I have some sewing supplies on there. I have my great nude elastic. I have my nude liner on there, if you want to use the exact same stuff that I'm using. And then I have some like little trims and fabrics. I'm going to be adding more. It's not very, what is the word? It's not very full right now with things, but I will hopefully be adding once I find some time, because I have a lot of fabric in here that I haven't used, and I think it needs to go to good use. And so I think I'm going to put some yardage in there so that you can buy it at a very nice price, because I just think it needs to go to a better home. So with that being said, you can also check out my Amazon storefront, which is linked below in the description. And that, of course, is a curated collection of all the items that I use to make these costumes happen. And so it is there for you to click on, and you can buy the same things that I'm using. And when you do that, it helps support me and it supports the channel because it gives me a little bit of kickback. And I'm finally starting to see some of that kickback. It's not a lot, but you know, any little bit helps. And I hope as I grow this community that, you know, becomes a little more and more, and I can, you know, supplement some of my income with this YouTube adventure, with helping you with your sewing adventure. So with that being said, I think we are done for today. Now, don't forget, if you want to see the rest of this costume being made, my next video will be the full start to finish. And there are a couple of good little tips in there, especially with the beading on it. So make sure that you check that out. So please like and subscribe and comment, and push the bell notification, because I think that also alerts you when I have posted. All right, I think I'm good to go. I think we went over everything. I hope you enjoyed this video. Again, please share it to any of your groups or friends that may enjoy this. All right, I hope you have a beautiful day, and I will see you in the next video.